Andrew and I wanted to take just a couple minutes to talk about the work that we're doing at ONN to develop a sector-driven evaluation strategy. So for a number of years, we at ONN have been hearing from nonprofits about evaluation and it not really always leading to really useful evaluation and not really getting a lot of nonprofits excited and proving to be something worth doing. So we decided that this is not really a great system of evaluation that we had, and we needed to do something to try and change the conversation. So what we wanted to do is really empower nonprofits to have more of a say in how evaluation is designed and operated. And it really comes out of this idea that when we think of evaluation as a big systems issue, you begin to see that there's a lot of different actors, a lot of information flowing around. There's a lot of influencing factors that can affect whether an evaluation proves useful or not. So that's what we are really focused on, is that high kind of big picture systems look. And it's grounded in this idea that when we get it right, it's a huge asset for us. What we found is when we talk about evaluation not as a dry technical exercise about doing logic models and so forth, which is important for sure, but we talk about evaluation more as how can it better serve our mission? How can we better serve our community? Those conversations start to get people a little bit more excited. So that's what we're trying to ultimately get to. So our focus really is on the why and not just the how-to or the measurement side of things. And we really are emphasizing the sector-driven angle. So it's not just about what ONN thinks or what any one org can do on their own, but really this idea that we need to be able to advocate as a sector for what we need from evaluation. So that's really what our focus is on.
So what we've learned through our work so far, talking to nonprofits and looking at research on this issue, is that how do you get to a place where evaluation really leads to action? So down at the bottom of that page, the way we've been talking about it, good evaluation should help us to learn about what works or what conditions and why. And if that happens, we should have a stronger, more responsive nonprofit sector that is able to better address the issues that matter, in our case in Ontario. But what we found is that the efforts that are going on to try to get us there, the kind of work that's happening, the kind of capacity building that's happening, the ways in which funders are trying to support folks to do evaluation, tends to focus on the technical aspects. So those gray slides on the left, that we train people, we train nonprofits in the mechanics, how to do a logic model, how to identify your indicators, and so on. But what we're trying to say is that work on its own enough to get us to those outcomes at the bottom of the page? Or do we need to be doing more? Do we need to be, for example, building a shared vision for evaluation? Do we need to help nonprofits not just know how to do an evaluation at a technical level, but how to really be strategic about when and why they agree to get involved in evaluation? Help create a safe space where folks can share what they're learning through evaluation. And finally, celebrate. In some ways, I feel like we're calling the whole thing evaluation is the wrong name for it. It should be called, learning and growth. And evaluation is one of the techniques we use in the service of our learning and growth plan, rather than having an evaluation plan.
So just to give you a quick snapshot of 5 reasons why evaluation doesn't lead to action, and it's things that again aren't necessarily focused on the methodology, but things that should be relatively easier to fix. Things like communication, whether we're prioritizing accountability or learning, what questions get asked, matching the approach that we're going to use to the expectations for what we want to learn and get out of the evaluation, and matching the resources that we put into the evaluation versus what we expect to learn.
So what we've done here, we're kind of excited about. We've come up with a simple set of things that seem, based on the research that we've done, based on our interviews with people, that really lead to, creating the context where evaluation can lead to action. And we've invited our panelists today to use these as points of reference as they tell you the stories of the work that they're doing. So we're going to keep coming back to these themes throughout the webinar. So, evaluation leads to action when there's a clear shared purpose, when there are specific people who are committed to using the evaluation in some way. So it isn't just, we'll do the evaluation, I'm sure we'll learn lots of great things, but, we're doing this evaluation so that the board can set its priorities for the next 2 years with respect to blah, 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 right? So particular people committed to meaningful use. Ongoing communication. So we're not just going to accumulate data. We've really been thoughtful about how we're going to share what's being talked about and how people are going to be brought along and kept current on what's happening with the evaluation. A good match between expectations and capacity. So not every evaluation has to be big and complicated, but if it's not going to be a big and complicated evaluation, let's not have overly ambitious goals for what we're going to learn from it. A process to make sure that there's a safe space for critical reflection and learning, because when you think about it, you know, an evaluation where we can't talk about our mistakes is not an evaluation that's really going to lead to a lot of learning, right? It's through our mistakes that we learn. And then finally, follow through. You know, when an evaluation, you know, when the first wave of evaluation is seen to lead to action, people are more likely to believe that future evaluation will lead to action.